The Batmobile. Uh-oh. So a buddy of mine's, his wife, sat this Batmobile, uh, at least in disrepair for at least 10 years. And so she comes to me and she wants me to see what I could do with it. And I'm like, okay, you know, I don't know how old it is. I don't know who makes it, but it does have a lot of potential. So what I plan to do is whatever I can. I'm gonna give you guys a good look at this thing. The technology on this thing is really old. I was looking at it and it looked as though, inside behind the servo, there's some other things. I'm guessing it may have had some features that may have at one time may have even turned that fan in the front. I don't know. Again, I've never seen anything quite like this. But one thing I do know is that it has potential. Let's get this out of the way here. It does have potential. My only concern is, maybe getting this servo to go with modern technology. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to begin by just taking all of this stuff out. We're just going to take all of this out and see what we have to work with. I don't know what kind of batteries they put in here. Looks like double A or something. Hey. So we're going to call this Project Batmobile. We're going to strip it out and see what we can do with it. Okay, the first thing I did was I took a lot of the crap that was here out. A lot of the stuff was useless. It was just stuff I put in this box here, some kind of battery bay, a couple of boards with a million wires on it, stuff like that. So I just took this stuff because I know that she's going to want the original parts and everything. And I just put it in a box, and I'll continue to put stuff in this box as I take it apart. Now, first thing I did was after I did that, the next thing I did was I started with the motor. So I took the screws off and everything to get access to the motor. And then I went out and I ordered a WO Toys motor. I believe this goes for the L959. So this might be like a 360, I'm not sure. But I do know it's the WO Toys motor for the L959-69, the 112 series. And so what I'm going to try to do now, because I'm looking at the gears on the motors here, on the WO Toys one, and the gears that are on here, and they're very similar. And if I'm lucky, I'll be able to take the gears off of here if they're too far off, because the gears are important. But I mean, just at first glance, these gears look very similar. So we're gonna take a micrometer to that and see where we are on there, and we're gonna go ahead. And we're also gonna use the WO Toys ESC, because as you know, when you get these motors, they're pretty much plug and play. Since this was previously like a 27 megahertz, we're gonna take it up to a 2.4 gigahertz, because I actually have several of the extra. Once you start buying these WO Toys trucks, you start getting a collection of radios. So I'm trying to make this transition as easy as possible. All right, let's get this motor on and take it to the next step. Okay, so we got the motor apart right here, and the WO Toys motor is smaller but the WO Toys motor is a lot more powerful. This motor here is it's really not that great. I actually tested it, and it was seemed like it just wasn't that strong. However, this is a Christmas gift for a buddy of mine, and I do want to get this thing together. So my only other option was to fabricate a metal piece that I can mount the motor on first, and then mount that onto here, and then just go ahead and switch the gears. But before I did that, I decided to see if this motor worked, and it did. So what I did was I cut the wires, because I could just easily get some more connectors. I could just order some, and I cut the wires off of the WO Toys motor because it had the connectors, because I'm using the WO Toys ESC because I want to give them a new radio. This thing was like 27 megahertz, and it was just, everything on it was just really old. So when I plugged it into the WO Toys ESC, I hooked a battery up to it, and so I went on and tested the motor, and we're going to go ahead and show you guys how that worked out. So I got him this controller here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut on the ESC, cut on the radio here. We're going to go ahead and bind it, and as you can see, the motor does work. But anybody that knows WO Toys knows that WO Toys motor, although smaller, will be more powerful. But again, this is a Christmas present. Sorry to say, but this is Christmas Eve, and it's getting late in the day, and I really want to get this thing assembled. And then when we give it to him on Christmas, I'm going to let him know that I'm going to order him another motor. And I'm actually thinking about getting like a what is that, a 590? I think it is. I'm not sure, but one of the largest motors I can find, and just go ahead and hook it up to this ESC here. All right, so right now we're going to go ahead and take the motor, and we're going to go ahead and install it back in this rear wheel carriage here. Now that we have the motor mounted back on this carriage thing, let's give her a test. So we have our motor mounted here, and we have it connected to our ESC here, and we got our battery there. Okay, let's give that thing a test. Not bad. And it has the classic digital proportion. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and mount this back on the Batmobile, mount the ESC, and see what we can do about those front servos. Now, let's give this thing a test. We got the rear wheel mounted back on the body of the car, and it looks like it's gonna do pretty good. And reverse, a little digital proportional. Look at that. All right, now the next thing that we're gonna do, we're going to go ahead and mount the servo into here. But this servo, this is also for a WO Toys L959, but I'm having trouble fitting it in here. What I did was I had to take these two servos out here, and these had 3 wires as opposed to 5 that they're using now. So we're going to go ahead and set these aside with the other parts. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take a Dremel tool, and since we can't fit that in there, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut these little pieces off here, and hopefully that'll give us enough room to tuck in the new servo like so. Because what I'm going to try to do in the end is, this is your steering rod, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to bend that to try to get it to fit inside the slot here on the servo, so of course we can steer the vehicle left and right. So let's see what we can do about that, and we'll be right back. We finished our cut here, and then what we did was we went and we put a servo in, a WO Toys, still from the L959. None of the holes lined up, and my buddy's wife wanted to keep this as original as possible, so I was able to get this thing secure with just the tie wraps here. And as you can see, she still has digital proportional steering, and when you lift her up, she runs. Okay. Now, since this is a repair, that's like a Christmas present, and we got like snow and 20-degree weather, I don't want to crash it, but I do want to like just give a quick run of it. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I cleaned everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and bind it, and I'm going to use this WO Toys radio. Okay, and I'm not going to bolt the body down because this thing takes like 4 bolts. So I'm going to sit it on here, and it might vibrate a little, but we don't want to crash it. We just want to give it a quick run, see if it works. Check out my skill. Oh, that's pretty cool. Not bad. Like I said, it's making that noise because I didn't bolt the body down yet. I want to get this thing wrapped up because, like, my friend, him and his wife, they're on their way over. So I just wanted to get some footage of this real quick. And I hope I don't crash it. You get a quick close-up. Uh-oh. Alright. I think that's risky enough. Let's get a real good close-up. The Batmobile. Uh-oh. All right. I think I'm having too much fun with my buddy's present. So, thank you guys for joining me on this total rebuild of Batmobile that I would guess is over, I don't know, at least 10 years old. Because my buddy, his wife said that they had it in storage for like 10 years. So, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me on this Batmobile rebuild. We're going to call it Project Batmobile. Merry Christmas, and thanks for watching.